Here. Hello. All right. Welcome, everybody. We are back with another new paradigm conversation. This one I'm super excited about because, human design is just like, I think one of the coolest systems. I love how much it integrates and overflows into like every other system between astrology and, I just started learning about my Enneagram, which have you done your Enneagram, Ashley? I asked Sam. I didn't ask you. No?
No.
It's like a personality assessment essentially, but like you answer a bunch of questions and based on your answers, it generates like what your type is. And I was telling Sam, cause I was reading my report, I was like, oh my God, this is so connected to my human design. So anyway, I digress.
Where can you do that?
I did it through, I think you have to buy the test. I did it through Elizabeth. So you should, reach out to her if you want to do it because it was really interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we have my very good friend, Samantha Sanford here to talk to us about human design in the new paradigm, because I feel like human design is sort of like where I first heard the term like new paradigm, because right, like 2027 is like the new paradigm and the birth of the new paradigm and everything else. So I'm really excited to hear about how we can kind of look at this through the lens of human design and go down all the rabbit holes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there is so much about the new paradigm in human design, and there's so many different places we could get into. So basically the first thing that I'm just going to like start saying is that we really, right now, we're in the right angle cross of planning, which is just kind of like a label for this current global consciousness. And then next year in February, it's going to shift to a different one, which is going to be the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix. And they're just two different, it's really, really like this underlying energy of the global consciousness. So that's basically the first thing that you want to like understand, is that it's really just energy. It's not saying that things are like this is going to happen. It's saying that like these are the energies that are going to be influencing us, that we're going to be feeling at that time. And so do you guys have any specific questions about it?
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So like energetically from now until February, what's shifting?
Okay. So the thing is that it's really like this kind of like it's building up to a point, you know, or it's kind of like, I wouldn't even say it's building up to a point. It's building up to like a point kind of like of penetration, I want to say, where it kind of just, it really starts to go the other way. But this is over a period of 400 years that we've been in this current paradigm that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So you have to realize that like, even in the past like 100 years, we've been at the end of this paradigm. Okay. And so this started in the 1600s.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
Isn't it?
That is wild to think about.
So you have to realize that like we're really at the end, and like we're kind of already living in this new paradigm in a sense. We've been moving towards it, and like there is so much that technology obviously right now has to do with it, just because of how much it impacts us every day as individuals and as human beings. And so, yeah. So go ahead and ask a question, Ashley. I'm curious.
All right. So I'm just going to tell you how I'm feeling right now and then throw out some human design stuff.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So right now, I feel that there's going to be a lot of people, especially in the month of July, that are already doing this work that are really going to up-level in their abilities. So like this huge intuitive push to either like really dig your heels into being the spiritual teacher and the connector to the divine, or I feel like a lot of people are just going to shut down and shut off. So like that's something that I'm getting for myself. I feel that by the end of August, beginning of September, I'm not even going to be the same person anymore because there's so much churning inside of me. And I'm even being told, like, don't do too much. It's really about being in the energy and moving through it and like allowing yourself to receive for more of the creation process moving in for the fall. I mean, there's a lot. Like yesterday, yesterday, I channeled so much. Like, I haven't channeled like I have yesterday in years. And it was a lot about the divine feminine coming in. And I can't share that right now because it's just, I have to let it sit before I let it move through. And I know a lot of people are going to be very pissed off at me with what's coming through with this because a lot of this breaks through all boxes that I feel like we put ourselves in, like the Abrahamic religion people, like they're going to be pissed about it. The witch community is going to be pissed about it. The so-called like new age people, I feel like they may be more open, but what it is like, it's like all boxes broken and like coming out and coming through, and everything we've been taught like being dismantled in ways, but pieces of it used to recreate. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And so that is actually one of the like kind of like the primary parts of this, because with it kind of brings all this other energy. And that's like this energy of releasing limitations. Like, and it's really releasing judgment, with then in turn releases limitations and then makes so many different things possible. But it's really about releasing judgment. And so one of the things that I was like contemplating last week, we were watching the documentary. It's the Cheech and Chong's last film or something like that. And Tommy Chong said something that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the complete and total essence of the new paradigm. And looked up, and he has the incarnation cross of the sleeping phoenix.
Really?
And so he really already is bringing, like, if you think of Tommy Chong, you think of like, he is this essence of the new paradigm. And he grew up like in religion. But more, I seem to like, it was much more progressive in the sense of like, they were there to practice religion. They weren't there necessarily to live within its, dogma. And, so basically he says doesn't matter if somebody's good or bad. Like, you can't say that something is good or something is bad. A guy goes to jail and he writes a book that ends up changing the world, but he did something bad. Like, you can't and so it's really like, even just like breaking from those labels too, not labeling things or defining yourself as things, as something. And like the other big thing is like emotions too, and not making it like, I'm an angry person, or I am mad right now. It's like, no, anger's passing through me. Like, I feel it. And really, and like, so there's an evolution and a mutative part of this new paradigm where we are going to also be kind of like upgrading ourselves in being able to be more aware and more, we can work better with our emotions. And there's so many different ways that we were already doing that. And the other thing too with Tommy Chong is like the 1960s, like that in general, that entire movement, that's at the end of the new paradigm. Like, despite all of the stuff that went on, and it was like, the institutions and stuff trying to bring it down. But ultimately, look how many drugs are being legalized. And they're being legalized to be used therapeutically. And so they're also coming in with that, intention as well. So they're just making us more aware.
That's awesome. So one of the things I really hear you saying is like the fluidity, like there's like less rigidity and more fluidity within all of that, which makes sense, obviously, because that's more feminine, that's more intuitive, right? That's more kind of allowing what comes in to like pass through. And, and so releasing judgment, releasing limitations. It's really interesting because, and I think I would love for you to talk a little bit about, both for us, but also for other people listening, like really kind of breaking down the key concepts of those different they're incarnation crosses, right? That's what they are. Yeah. Like the different incarnation crosses, because I think it explains a lot of what we're moving out of and what we're moving into. Like from what I understand, like even just thinking about the direction of it, right? From left to right, from a left angle cross to a right angle cross, it's going from more of that structure, like, system to even hierarchical in a sense, right? To the right, just more open, more fluid, more whatever. So can you talk a little bit about some of the characteristics, like the key differences from what we're moving out of into what we're moving into with the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix?
Yeah. So right now we're in the cross of planning. And again, that is more about kind of like how our current institutions and stuff, how they have literally been this incubator in a sense that have allowed us to build all of these different things that, are basically what our society is today. Like things like technology, advances in medicine, and just it basically has held us during that time. It's incubated it. It's allowed it to happen. But now we're ready to break out of that. And that's kind of really what is going to happen with this right angle cross, the sleeping phoenix. And it is just these concepts of, like I said, the releasing of judgment and being also more of an individual and choosing. It's not like you're choosing yourself over others, but you're serving yourself first in order and also serving others. So, and you're really honoring who you are as a unique person and kind of also like figuring out how we fit into this world uniquely as an individual. And yeah, they honestly, like people like to think of them as like completely two separate things. But the thing is like right now we're in this time where they're like merging, like, we're living through them. A lot of this stuff of the sleeping phoenix, like we're already seeing, especially where we are. Like we already know, okay, that's where we're going. That's, like we're kind of the people who see these things and help usher these things in and advocate for these things. So we're kind of already like, yeah, love that. And to both things, there's good and bad. You're going to have your lower expression and your higher expression and the same thing. But like all in all, there's this whole doomsday scenario that kind of comes along with it in human design that I don't subscribe to. Ra Aruhu, who, he said a lot of this stuff, it was in the 90s. And he did have the gate of shock. He was meant to be shocking. And he just, he talked a lot about these things back then. And you don't necessarily know how things are going to come to fruition when like the technology that we have now is like has completely changed our world. Social media, like technically World of Warcraft, for example, is one of the first social media platforms. But coming from that, like Facebook literally skyrocketed it. But the thing that really did was smartphones. And we didn't really have strong smartphones until like 2013 when we were actually able to use them for what we use them today. So we're only talking in like the past 15 years has society completely changed. And so there is one other thing I do want to talk about too, about the divine feminine, but I do want to make sure that I kind of gave a good example of the essence of the new paradigm and what we're living in now. I don't know if you guys feel like, is there more?
I would like to learn a little bit more, hear a little bit more of the sleeping phoenix itself and like what that energy is going to look like as we're stepping into it.
So we don't necessarily know. There's a lot of prophecy with Ra and stuff like that. And there's a lot of fear that's out there right now. But the main thing is that the energy that is the highest expression is really kind of what human design advocates for, honoring you and your strategy and your authority and listening to your body, being in your body, being present, and also honoring other individuals doing the same and not having judgment for them. And knowing that there is no good, there is no bad. And it's really like, that's the highest expression of that energy. But like everything kind of has a polarity to it. So like, for example, the more, we say we're focusing on the individual, like there could be lower expressions of narcissism, which again, we see a lot of already today.
Or cults. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cults. I've been feeling that since 2019, that the new paradigm, there will be more cults as opposed to these religions that we have.
But also looking at the fact that cults as a good or a bad thing, that's something that we're releasing. It's the judgment. It's like, what is a cult? Like, is there a good way for a cult to be? Is there a bad way for a cult to be? Yes. And just, being aware of it and not judging. And that's the other thing too, is like, there is a difference between judgment and discernment.
Right.
Because we're not saying that just let's pretend that things aren't good and aren't bad. It's just, being aware of it.
Like, what is it?
Like,
why is it happening? And like, I feel like the big thing lately that I've been tuning into is like, you can't have a real connection with source if you don't know who you are.
Exactly.
Because your true connection with source is your blueprint. We are all like a sliver of source. So how can you really connect with source if you're not truly embodying who you were meant to be? And I feel like, so like, is the one before the sleeping phoenix, the cross one, I don't know the name of it, is that more about searching externally?
So yeah, I was literally about to actually bring that up. So that is a huge theme right now, is internal authority versus external authority. And that, again, is something that human design really advocates for. And so when we even talk about source in general, a lot of the times people see source as something that is external. And we're taught that it's something that's external. But in reality, the Bible actually kind of does say that it's not.
Right.
That it's, and it's a relationship. And that's what a lot of mysticism, practices. But the thing is that we're moving from this place of like, outsourcing everything about ourselves, all of the decisions that we make, all of the thoughts that we have, all the opinions that we have, the judgments, everything is all external. So yeah, there's a lot about external authority. A lot of it, again, has to do with religion and just conditioning in general. Like, my mom said this, or, all of my friends says this, or the internet says this. And just like not honoring what you feel as an individual. And that's going to be changing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these religions are the foundational piece as to the whole external search. and find everything outside of yourself and don't trust yourself and you suck without us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do want to say too is that religion in general is something, religion we know today is something that definitely came out of this this paradigm that we're ending right now from the 1600s on. That's really when it started to come into what we know it as today. And so like religion in general is something that is going to, it's not going to shift drastically or change the way as a global consciousness, like the way the world sees religion is going to change. The way the world sees institutions is going to change. All of these things are going to change. The perspective, like, it's just going to shift. And again, when it comes to institutions, and like, I'm really curious to see with technology, Facebook, all of these things that are really, really like, those are like the strongest institutions in the world that have ever existed at this point. And there's a lot of talk that's been going, or not even talk, just like all of these different conspiracy theories and stuff on like, you know, like what would you guys do tomorrow if the internet suddenly didn't work anymore? Or if cell phones didn't work anymore? That is huge. That is humongous. But it's not even the fact that those things could go away. It's our dependence on them.
Yeah.
And we just started that dependence. It's new, you know? It's our new shiny toy.
Yeah.
By the time this next 400 years is over, it's not going to be a new shiny toy.
God, what is going to be the shiny toy?
I'm hoping it's our bodies and being present, because that's the thing. It's like, you know, your great granddaughter is going to be like, oh my God, my, you know, great grandmother was so freaking glued to her phone, or, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, I can't even believe they use these things. There's going to be all these, you know, just, I mean, my parents were born in like the early 50s, 60s, and they raised me. And I'm sure your parents are both of the similar generations, and all of our teachers and our caretakers, you know, like the people who influenced us, they were a little bit more conscious. And now we have this massive amount of consciousness that we are now bringing to parenting and children and the younger generations. And like, they see us, they look up to us, and they're curious about it. Like, I don't even think I learned what yoga was until high school. My kids are learning yoga in daycare. And
my kids are already attuned to Reiki.
Exactly. And it's like, and then imagine what they're going to be teaching their kids. And like, it's just, you know, like right now we are living in, you know, this time of a big shift. And how cool is it that we get to be the people that help, you know, talk about it and observe it. And there's going to be, I mean, the media and stuff is going to do what it wants to do. And there's going to be so much fear mongering. And it's even in our spaces too, like in the spirituality space. Like, I see a lot of it. And I see a lot of spiritual bypassing. It's like, I only can go to like certain sources, because it's like, it's not that people aren't practicing what they're preaching. It's that they're not even present in what they're practicing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, you know, I think authenticity is going to hopefully start to shift. But right now, we're really going to be just seeing transitions. Like in our lifetime, it's going to be super transitional. Like, you know, we're going to see all of these things coming and going. And there's all of these things about structures and stuff are going to be collapsing and all of that. But that's not really what is going to necessarily happen, because the structures that replace them will already have been built. I hope. That's the positive look.
That's the plan. That's the plan, right?
But there is this level of external authority, and even like giving up like our own personal authority to technology and our cell phones, I think is like a really big theme that we're seeing right now happen, because just because you say like, oh, I have control over my phone, but if it rings, are you going to pick it up? If it rings 3 times, are you going to pick it up? Who's in control at that point, And so it really is practicing intention and awareness over things like that. Yeah. What else? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything? Like, am I skipping over questions?
No. I mean, I have lots more questions. I don't know how many questions we'll be able to answer today, because I feel like every time you talk, it brings up not even questions, but just like different things to like go deeper into. One thing that I think is really important, a couple of things just to sort of like reiterate too. You talked about the importance of body presence, honoring the self, understanding the self, all of that. I feel like that really validates our industry too, of just how important it is to have things like human design. I think is great because it helps give you an idea of the energy and like what you're already working with and how to work with it instead of against it, and to give language to the energy that is around us, much like astrology does, obviously too, right? To be able to move through instead of against. And also the one thing in terms of like releasing the judgment and the limitations and not making things wrong, I think it's, I almost lost you there for a second.
Oh, what happened? Alyssa disappeared.
Oh no. This is her new computer.
Yeah, that's all right. She'll be back on.
So this is a wonderful example of outer authority.
Is there a lot with the divine feminine coming up with the sleeping phoenix too? Is that what you were going to go into?
Yeah. So the thing is that there's leftness and rightness within human design, and that really is feminine and masculine. And even the terms feminine and masculine, like I'm so done with those. Yeah. I am so done with those because it adds a gender to something that is